Hey everyone, PB Ekatako here, and today I'll be unboxing something. It's an item I bought from Ross, and what will be different this time is that it's something that's currently available there. And by currently, I mean November 12th, 2025, so if you find this video 6 months later, go to Ross and find jack shit. Don't blame me. Anyways, the item in question is this. The Demona Ultimate Action Figure by Neca. A regular viewer asked if I could unbox this, and although it took a few weeks, ASAP Anime 1875, I am happily honoring your request. One thing I like about Neca Ultimate Action Figures is that the figure is completely boxed in, but you could preview it by opening the flap. It gives the item a more premium feel compared to just being in blister packaging. What? What happened? The box? Oh, son of a bitch.
1 hour later.
Just kidding, everyone. I did not buy an empty figure box. I did the actual unboxing first and did my on-screen portions after. So yeah, I totally didn't have to buy a second Demona Ultimate Action Figure. Alright, that's enough waffle. Let's get on with the unboxing. Before that, if you enjoy the content, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and sub to the channel. Patreon and supers are another option if you feel like I earned it, but more importantly, keep an eye out on those turd squirrels who try to escape accountability by trying to leave your island. They're always trying to weasel their way out of things, and Ione, and probably Pecan too, are no exception. If this goddamn dirty squirrel thinks she's gonna commit crimes on my island and just leave, she's got another thing coming to her, like another net beatdown. Don't forget, Ione, you're here forever. So here's the front of the box. The artwork is pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having a print of that hanging on my wall. Then we got the back, right, left, and front flap open. The presentation for Neca Ultimate Action Figures is pretty good, but no need to focus on that for so long. It's time to free Demona from the cardboard prison. I'll go ahead and stress that this is a simple unboxing. While it's being shot like one of my typical reviews, this is going to be a lot more concise and I won't be focusing so much on the finer details. With Demona out of the box, we see that she comes with plenty of accessories and extra parts. Going off the numerous Neca Ultimate Action Figures I've seen at Ross, this is par for the course. The massive wings are in a separate blister. Man, this thing's packed like a scale figure. Not that I'm complaining, and as you'd expect, these are secured in with plastic bands, so I gotta cut them out and
3 hours later.
The action figure is out, but what's even worse is the alternate faceplate. Look at how snug it is in there. Removing it's gonna be a pain in the
1 eternity later.
So that's out, and it's kind of a scary face, so I don't think I'll be displaying Demona with it. Kinda reminds me of the Fallen from Magic the Gathering. So here's everything you get. 2 high-tech looking ballistic weapons, a tome, 4 extra hands, 2 wings, a tail, and the main action figure. Here's a slight close-up of Demona herself. Looks fairly solid, but what the heck is that thing in the hole? Oh, that's where you slot in the tail. Head out of gutter, bro. Now for some quick close-ups of everything else. The wings are looking pretty cool and detailed, but we'll get a better view of those later. Here's the hands and tail, can't really do much else with those, and then we have the tome. I haven't watched Gargoyles in a long time, so I don't remember if it's a plot relevant item. And lastly, her huge guns. The assembly process can be a bit tedious. First of all, Demona's tail doesn't slot in easily, so you gotta jam it in her real good to make sure it stays in. Attaching the wings is definitely the most difficult part of the assembly process. They slot into holes hidden behind Demona's hair. This is the part where you should handle the figure with some care, though it might not look like I'm doing that. It took a little bit of work to slot the peg into the hole, but I think if you warmed up the wing peg with some hot or warm water, it should make things softer, more flexible, and thus easier to move around and work with. That's a common trick with scale figures, and it's the same thing here. So I've got one wing connected. Actually only somewhat, but I think I'll work on the second one now. I actually recommend removing Demona's head before attaching the wings, as her hair can really get in the way. Too bad I didn't think of that from the start. Another thing about the wings, you need to make sure they're completely connected. Here's the diff between one that's all the way and one that isn't. The wings require a bit of effort to move, and if they're not in all the way, they could stress the hole they're slotted into, and that could cause permanent damage to the figure. Now for some shots of the fully assembled Demona. Looks pretty impressive from here if I do say so myself, but what's even more impressive is that wingspan. It's about 18 inches while the height of the action figure itself is 7. Why don't we go in for a deeper dive? It's a rather detailed action figure, as there's plenty of shading and blending with the paint job. It's not like standard anime price figures whose quality and details are as low as their price tag. I also like that Demona's earrings are metal, or at least have metallic paint. Nah, it's too shiny, it has to be metal. Then we have Demona's mid area, which doesn't leave much to the imagination. If this was made by a Japanese company, Demona would have been given panties just like what Good Smile does with Figma. Neca, however, did no such thing, and before you get any ideas, there's no naughty bits to see. Also, I wouldn't want to get hit by one of those knees. Looks very painful and stabby. So the interesting thing about Demona's tail is that it could effectively act like a stand. Due to the wings, the action figure is quite top rear heavy, but Demona's tail stabilizes the action figure and keeps her from falling backwards. Also, due to the combination of those huge feet with the top rear heaviness, Demona will never fall forward. Finally, +1 on the tally for that ankle bracelet. Okay, I know I said I wouldn't be getting into the finer details, but we gotta appreciate how good these wings look. I ain't gonna go as far as to say they look realistic because, well, gargoyles are not real. Well, at least it has not been scientifically proven. It may be a little hard to see with my lighting, but bits of Demona blue are mixed into all that wing texture, and as for the underside, or the front of the wings, it's big purple. So far, everything is a big hit. It's all pretty good. I guess I gotta show off the ugly face too, right? I'd only attach this when using various action figures to make a ridiculous scene, but as for normal displaying, this is a no-go for me. I guess I should briefly test out the joints as well. They're kinda stiff at first, but for the most part, they don't feel fragile. Removing the hands is very easy, and it's the same difficulty level with putting them back on. It's the same deal with the head, and swapping the face plates is also just as simple. The original retail price for this action figure is 37 clams, and I do think the quality matches the price. The fact that Ross is selling this for more than 50% off MSRP means you're really min-maxing your doubloons. This is my first NECA action figure that I opened, and it certainly won't be the last. And we'll finish with the parts I'm not using. These will not go back in the box, as I'm either going to throw it out or store it in my garage. They're going in a sandwich bag and then placed in my storage bin full of my Nendoroid and Figma parts. How do you store your action figure accessories and extra parts? Comment below. And that does it for the review. I was pleasantly surprised with the outcome. I don't think I'd pay the full retail price, which is $37 just in case you forgot, but to be fair, I don't think I'll be paying full retail price for the vast majority of action figures. I already took enough L's buying action figures at full retail price, only for them to show up at Ross at a massively lower cost. All in all, I'm really happy with the purchase, and I'm looking forward to opening the other Gargoyles Ultimate action figures I bought. If Demona is something you're interested in, she's still available at Ross, but it won't be the case for very long. So if you want Demona and find her, buy her. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, sub, hype. If you got some more time on your hands, please check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you there. If not, I'll see you later.